right, everybody, let's give it up for The Devil Makes Three.
Hello, everybody. We're gonna put on our guitars and banjos and stuff, and even though we don't need to, and just stand here awkwardly.
We decided we were going to talk first, and then they were going to go into their music. So I want to talk first about the new album, Spirits. I am so discombobulated right now.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
I mean, that was...
That's a great
That wasn't even
title
close.
for a
I know.
record, though.
Stairs right
But
there.
it is your next
Are
one.
we going up or down?
I don't know. It's really hard to tell.
That went off the rails really fast. The new album, Spirits, which was released yesterday. We might not get through any of this.
Sorry.
Released yesterday. You've got a show tonight at the Crystal Ballroom, sold out. And you are selling out shows across the area, which is great. It's been a while since you've been putting together some music and going out on tour. You're looking at me like...
It has.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the first album in 7 years.
It is. Yeah. We took our sweet time.
But that's okay.
It is.
Things come
Yeah.
together slowly or quickly, like stairs. They
Exactly.
go up, they go down.
Stairs are really hard to
You
build.
don't want to take stairs too quickly.
No, you don't.
You don't. And they're really difficult to build. Just, you know, it takes a long
One step
time.
at a time.
It is
Exactly.
one step at a
Oh,
time.
that's good. That is good. I might never get past this. So, first of all, Pete, I want to ask you a question, first of all.
Sure.
I was listening to a number of interviews that you've done, and you've talked about how you decided at an early age that music, this is going to be your thing. And part of it being because you were surrounded by so many musicians and artists. There's the obvious of how that sort of framed your worldview, but how did it really shape you?
Well, you know, I was doomed from the start. I think if you have a family of musicians and artists, it's just very difficult to think about doing anything else. You know, it just was like, it was the family thing. Yeah, and actually Cooper as well had a musical family. So it was just, you know, I would actually go and watch my aunt perform with Cooper's mom when we were kids. So it was just, it seemed inevitable to just play music. And actually Morgan Eve and her brother both grew up as musicians as well. So not so much with the family being the inspiration,
Well,
but
they started us early, and there was never any talk of a backup plan.
right, yeah, no backup plan allowed, I think was part of
Exactly.
part of the strategy. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was just, you know, you look up to people when you're young, and the people that I looked up to were all musicians. So yeah, and it was just one thing after another. It seemed like the natural progression.
And you grew up in Vermont, but then you found yourself, and Cooper, you as well, in California. You were doing house shows, and I love the story that you told about doing punk shows as well. I mean, not doing punk shows, but being part of punk shows,
Yeah.
where you're like, you know, you would go out and play while the other band was setting up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems like an odd combination, but really not so much.
Yeah, well, all our friends were promoted those shows. So when we first started touring and we wanted to get gigs, we just asked people who were doing metal and punk shows, because no one else really, honestly, no one would book us, let's be honest. No one was interested in booking our band. And so we would get in touch with our friends who were putting on, metal and punk shows, and they were like, sure, whatever. They didn't. It's a very open-minded scene. They didn't care that we weren't really like any other bands on the bill, and the other bands didn't care either. So it was like it was a great opportunity, and plus that was the music we listened to a lot of the time. So yeah, it was a really great opportunity for us to kind of get our start. When we first started, you know, not having a drummer, it was a sort of, no one knew what to do with us. You know, they were like,
Who are you?
"Are you a band? Are you really even a band?" So, yeah, we our friends really helped us get our start. Yeah.
So the new album, Spirits. I know. See, sometimes it takes me the second time around. Cooper, I heard you talk about one of the songs, "Hard Times," sort of the evolution of it.
Sure.
And the evolution of it's kind of funny. The song isn't. The song is serious,
It was.
but it started off about pickles.
It did, yeah. I decided I was going to try a new songwriting strategy, which was if I had an idea for a line or a verse or something, I would just force myself to finish the song, no matter how stupid it was. And I got a line in my head about pickles, and I just sat down and I wrote the song. And it's okay about pickles. I think it's much better now that I sort of rejiggered it to not be about pickles. But there's a version out there in the world that is still about pickles, if anybody cares to dig.
Well, there is a baseball team in Portland called the Portland Pickles.
Oh, yes, I'm well aware.
Yeah, so you can. This album is really personal. So it's personal, but it's also, it talks about sort of the social anxiety, probably not the right word, but the uncertainties of the world right now. And so there's that economic divide, there's that political divide. And it kind of reminds me of sort of the folk albums, the Americana albums that our parents grew up listening to. I had no question behind that, just that, you know, it really brings the whole, for lack of a better word, the whole genre home in a way. Was that purposeful, or, I mean, obviously these are the themes that we're going through, and like I said, it was also personal as well.
Yeah, it definitely was intentional.
Yeah.
You know, we're music fans, so, you know, I think one of the things that's great about playing folk music is you're allowed to just, you know, follow in other people's footsteps. And a lot of the great, you know, songwriting traditions have that built in, which is great. You can just steal, like just completely. You don't have to feel bad about it at all. It's actually what you're supposed to do in folk music. So, which is really great. And, you know, Woody Guthrie and stuff like that was a big influence on my father. And yeah, so it was a big inspiration, you know. And it feels good, too, to just sort of, you know, move the folk tradition forward. We've always felt like, you know, singing about what's happening is what folk music should be. It's also what punk music is as well. You know, those two traditions kind of are linked. And, you know, sometimes I think folk music, for some reason, gets kind of relegated to being about things that happened in the past. Whereas if, you know, Woody Guthrie and the folk singers of the time were writing about what's happening during that time period. And I think it's important to still do that, you know, instead of kind of making it almost into like a museum thing. Like, you know, we play the banjo and no one plays the banjo anymore. It's like, oh, really? God, that's too bad. Let's not let that go. It's fun.
Yeah. So one more question. Favorite songs from the new album? Spirits, not Stairs.
I mean, every single song on there is really good.
Oh, Cooper, stop it.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Favorite song is a tough one. Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know. I think it's actually kind of true what Cooper said in that we do like all the songs on the record, which is amazing. That's rare for all of you people in the audience who don't make records. There is usually, like, fans have favorites and bands have favorites too. It's a secret. Like, usually there's 3 songs that's like, man, those are great. And then there's, you know, there's the other ones. But this one, I don't know. I like them all.
I do too, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different stuff on there, and it sort of depends the day, honestly.
Yeah, and the mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I mentioned, the new album, Spirits, is was out yesterday. They're going to be at Music Millennium in less than an hour. You can follow them there in a non-stalky way. And go listen to them again and buy the album. In the meantime, you guys are going to play some of the music off of it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Devil Makes 3, everyone.
Well, thank you guys for coming. We're going to play the title track.
Stairs.
What a saga with the name of this album. My God.
Too many stairs is pretty.
It's pretty good.
It's a good
good.
line. I'm exhausted.
Yeah. Okay, we ready? Under no circumstances say that line. Don't do that.